Hey, do you run?
Hi, yeah, I do. My mouth about my campaign. Hi, I'm N'Kyla Jasmine Thomas, and I'm running for the U.S. Senate seat for Oklahoma against Mark Wayne Mullen. And I am a Black, white, and Native American woman. I am a autism mom, military spouse, nurse, and a Chickasaw Native. And I am fighting for education, LGBTQIAs, fair immigration rights, and fair wages. Any questions else? No? Okay, I gotta go.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Claremont Show. My name is Claire.
I'm Lamont.
And we are here to show y'all what can happen when old school meets new school to create an even better school of thought. Today we have a very, very special guest, senatorial candidate. You just saw her on the screen. Senatorial candidate for Oklahoma, Jasmine Thomas, will be joining us. And we look forward to tackling some topics such as the Iranian potential war situation with Israel. Her husband is active duty and she's a veteran, so this is going to be a really interesting topic to discuss with her. We also are going to get into some Medicaid cuts and talk a little bit about autism and the rhetoric surrounding autism at this moment. And then we're going to make it all about Jasmine. We're going to let her dive in and tell us all about herself towards the end here. So without any further ado, let's get this thing started and let's bring on our guest. Show starts.
I'm up early for the dealers come out. Everybody is outside till the killers come out. You ain't eating, you just act full. I'm impactful. Dozen funerals in a month. I got that pull. I will give it to niggas in all rap forms. Ignatius out right now on all platforms.
There she is, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello.
How
Hi.
are you doing today, Miss Jasmine?
I am good but busy, but I'm super excited to be here. Thank you for having me, Claire and Lamont. I really appreciate it.
Claremont, yes.
The pleasure is all ours, and we are so grateful for your time. We know you're doing your campaign. You've got concerns about your husband. You've got family in town. It's Juneteenth, just a whole lot of things, and we want you to know that we are grateful. You have our support, and we're going to do everything we can to let people know exactly why you need that Senate seat in Oklahoma.
100%.
That Senate seat as well. Yeah.
All right. Well, Jasmine, today is Juneteenth, and I think it's only fair we kind of start out by letting people understand the meaning of Juneteenth, what it means for you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, she is running for office, and she has family at home. She's a human,
I do.
and she let us get inside her home where her family is at. So if you see family every now and then, we ask for that because we are a hometown podcast. But it is Juneteenth, and the meaning of Juneteenth, some people might not know. Juneteenth started in June 19th, 1865, when Union General Gordon Granger arrived at Galveston, Texas, announced that all enslaved people were free. This was over 2 years since the Emancipation Proclamation. There were celebrations throughout the years, but it didn't become an actual federal holiday until June 19th, 2021. And having said that, Jasmine, tell us what it means for you to have this as a holiday. It's our newest holiday.
Yes, and I absolutely love it. I have celebrated Juneteenth my whole life as I was a child. Being Black means everything to me. I primarily grew up so I'm mixed, racially, triracial, Black, white, Native American. But since my mother is Black and Native American, I culturally grew up Black, so I identify as Black. So having something that's super special to us and something that we can celebrate and hold very near and dear, especially our freedom from the slavery, it's incredible. It just shows how resilient and incredibly just wonderful the African American heritage is, and I enjoy it wholeheartedly, and I love it.
And Claire, you are a white American, and even though this is celebrating an achievement for Black Americans, tell us how you as a white American can relate to this holiday and why you enjoy celebrating Juneteenth.
Well, I think most holidays are about commemoration, are about taking time out of the day-to-day and really think about where we've all come from and where we want to go. And so to me, it's shocking that we haven't celebrated this holiday up until now. But I think it also should be a good sign that we're making some progress, that the voices of the progressive side and of the resistance, we are making ourselves known. And with every year, we're getting more and more opportunities to reflect deeply on the past and also make amends for the past. And for me, that means not just having Juneteenth and saying happy Juneteenth. It also means empowering the Black community with more than just words. So it's a reminder of the work that we need to do. And it's also a reminder of the great work that's already been done. So.
Well said, Claire. And ladies and
Yes.
gentlemen, for me, it's a constant reminder of what can happen when we all come together for a cause of equality. The Emancipation Proclamation freed us, but it also then made us citizens. It made us embedded, ingrained in freedom for this country. And we've had Black people fight for that freedom, build for that freedom, and continue to fight for equality, not just for Blacks, but for everyone. So anytime I hear of a celebration that celebrates Black people, it reminds me that we're celebrating the dreams and the hopes and aspirations of what a great nation could be.
Yes.
Simple as that.
I love how thorough you guys are. I'm just like, oh, this is just incredible. I love this. And then you have this whole spiel, and I'm just like, dang it, maybe I should have just went more passionate with it. Like, I love how passionate you guys are. This is an incredible show. So sorry to interrupt.
No, thank you.
No. Yes, please. Like, as we're growing this new path that we're creating, let us know what we're doing right. Let us know what we're doing wrong. And just don't forget about us as we grow. That's all we'll say.
That's all we need.
Never. I'll come back once I get elected, and I'll just be like, listen, this is where it started. This was the most incredible place that I have. Incredible podcast, and I say place, but this is the most incredible podcast that I've been on. So I will never forget you guys ever. Thank you for having me again.
Oh, for sure. You can't forget us, because we are going to give you a copy of this interview. So we are going to be in your back pocket 24/7, wherever you go.
Stay there.
You got it. You got
That's
it.
where we prefer to be anyways.
Yes, ma'am. So now we have a fun segment we call on our show, We've Had It. This is our homage to the great women on the I've Had It podcast, in which they give their petty grievances and let you know little small things that gets on their nerve. And we even have theme music. Check this out. All right, Jasmine. What is it
Not
that
the Mary
we've
J.
had? Oh,
Not the Mary J. I love that. That was a good little theme music for the We've Had It. I like that culturally. You are showing out today. You and Claire, y'all are showing out.
Hey,
It's Juneteenth.
I support it. That's Lamont right there. Yeah.
No, it's a team effort, Jasmine. And having said that, what is it that you've had it with that you can tell us about today?
I've had it with the financial portion of how running an election. This has been one of the most disheartening parts of the election, is trying to gather the campaign funds, be able to travel and get hotel rooms and buy palm cards, banners. It's just a lot of money. The fact that I have to raise over $2 million for my race alone is excruciatingly painful. And it's one of the things that I just feel like this needs to be publicly funded at this point. The fact of the matter is that the incumbent right now, the person that I'm trying to unseat, which is Markwayne Mullin, he started with a lot of money. He owns a plumbing business that is spread out throughout Oklahoma. So he came with money. He's like a maybe second or third generation owner of this plumbing company. So he was fueled with money. So he was able to put $250,000 into his candidacy in his campaign from the jump, whereas I come from the working class. So there's times that I can't even put money into my own campaign because I still have bills. I still have car notes I have to pay. I have to take care of 2 children, make sure that they're well dressed, better than me most of the time, which I'm not complaining. But the matter of fact is that we live in such hard times right now. People are losing jobs left and right. People are literally scrounging for change. They have to ration their food. I've had a lot of conversations with my supporters, them saying that they've had to find ways to make their food stretch. And for me to be out here begging them, especially on the internet, one, it's been one of the most embarrassing things that I've had to do. And I say embarrassing because of the fact that I know what they're going through. And for me to sit up here and ask them for money is it's very embarrassing. So I believe that we should 100% have publicly funded elections and campaigns. I'm sorry.
All right. Claire, any response to what Miss Jasmine said?
I think it is a perfect example of why a lot of us don't feel that our representatives represent us. Because we as a collective, whether you are working class, middle class, upper middle class, the people who have that kind of money, just $250,000, just 250K just sitting in an account that they can just throw into whatever. That is not even close to the average American experience. And so then we're asking those same people to speak for us. And it shines a light on exactly what you're talking about, Jasmine, that we need people to be representative of the population. But how do we get those people who don't have all of the time and money and resources to those positions? And unfortunately, right now, it's going to have to be grassroots. It's going to have to be people scrounging for change. But please don't feel any shame, Jasmine, for asking people for money, because this is what we want to support you for. This is how your community wants to uplift you. And so, like, it shows your humility that you come with that energy and come with almost like a feeling of like guilt. I'm sorry, I have to ask you for this. Know that we as a collective, and I'm speaking for myself and other Americans, we want to be able to support you. So keep asking, and people are gonna show up for you.
Thank you. Absolutely. And it is a very humbling experience. So you're right. And showing my humility, because like I know what it's like to have to live paycheck to paycheck. I know what it's like to have to, just hold on to my last dollar to make it stretch. And I would never ever want my Oklahomans to ever think that in order for me to feel like I'm supported by them, that they have to give me their last. And that's why I just feel as if it's an embarrassing type of situation. And it makes me feel insufferable. It really does.
Wow. Well, thank you again, Jasmine. And all I'm going to say, to put a pretty bow on it, my social media reach is well over 400,000. And this is my call to action to all you 400,000. Jasmine's link is in my video description. If all of you 400,000 combined would just give her 50 cents, 25 cents, you're making a big difference in what she's going to be able to do to bring the kind of everyday modern citizen values that we need in office. It is a problem when they are allowed to make it, you got to have 2 million to run for office, because now the people who are able to afford that, not only do they get to set the narratives in who is running, but then they also set the narratives in what you're running for. And if you want people to run on the values of everyday humans, all of you guys in my social media reach out to Jasmine, give her $1, give her 50 cents, give her 10 cents. It all adds up if you all can bring that together.
And it does. And every penny that is sent to me is 100% grateful, because it helps with, and I feel like I'm low-key begging right now. But it helps with my traveling costs, because I do have to travel 10 hours here to Oklahoma. Every time that there's something, well, luckily for the summer, I am in Oklahoma hanging out with my family, and I've been out in the community doing everything that I need to do. But that shows my commitment to my constituents, my future constituents, is that I'm willing to travel 10 hours, get in my car, and drive here to be present for you guys. So every dime matters. And it just helps me get to them and reach the people that it needs to reach. So I really appreciate it in advance. Thank you.
Oh, you're more than welcome. It is our honor to support. And Claire, it is now your turn. We've had it. What have you had it with this week?
Lamont, I was thinking about it. I used to do this thing in middle school, and they would call it Claire's rant time. And I would come and sit at the lunch table, and I would rant about whatever was going on that day. And I think we were destined to be here in this moment with me complaining about some shit. So I've had it with corporations shaming consumers for environmental issues that they caused. Pulse.
Yes.
Why are y'all creating technology that we will inevitably want to use and then setting them up in a way that we end up harming the environment in the process, and then you all shame us for using the products you created? It's the same shit I'm seeing it right now with AI. Everyone's talking about AI's using all the water. Well, why the fuck did y'all create it? Why does my browser immediately go to AI when I try to Google something? How am I supposed to turn that off if y'all are telling me that I'm ruining the environment with it? It's the same thing that happened with cars. Y'all are the ones emitting the most CO2 by a landslide, but then everyone's trying to say, you got to buy an electric vehicle if you want to be an informed citizen who appreciates the environment. It's like, maybe if you guys weren't shooting rockets into space for fun and sending Katy Perry up to the moon, then we could not have to worry about the individual consumers and their impact. Obviously, we all need to be conscious. If every single consumer goes in litters and just doesn't care, then that's one thing, of course. But they're still emitting 18 million times. And by they, I mean the billionaires and CO2 that we are as individuals. So I want them to know what this is. And once they've really thought about what is the most economical and ecological way to continue to use this technology, but do it in a much more mindful manner, then they can come shame me about how I use it. But until y'all think really deeply about alternatives that won't harm the environment, I don't want to hear y'all coming and shaming consumers.
Reply, Jasmine.
No, I'm right there with Claire, because it's very confusing to me as to how they produced and they maintained the AI system. Because when I first saw, and this was just like recently that I had saw that they were using resources such as water, and we had a lot of energy that was burning into that, because I was like, well, this is just energy. I was thinking that it was just coming from like internet usage, or it was coming from, just like plugging in your iPad or like whatever. But then when they told me that it was actually using these resources, I was like, well, how does that even happen? So I think that AI is more efficient to me than it is Google, because AI just hits it right there on the head. There on the head. It gives you all the information that you need without you having to go out and seek it on Google, because Google, you could go through pages and pages of things until you actually get what you're looking for. So I think that AI is useful to the best advantages. And personally, I do care about the environment. I love the environment. I 100% want and I go on with my policies about clean, renewable resources and EV vehicles. But at the same time, I don't want AI taken away from me. I don't want to be shamed for using AI. I want to feel like it's being utilized to its best advantage, if that makes sense. So I agree, Claire.
I'm right there with you. I think that these tools are very useful. I just think the companies need to be very mindful about how it's impacting the environment. Because even if we care, what are we going to do to alter that system? They set the system up. If it's using too many resources, figure out another way. But don't come to us and say, you guys are ruining the environment.
Right.
You guys have options here. Let's brainstorm a little bit, you know?
Well,
All I have
wanted,
to say to that.
Oh,
I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Jasmine.
I was gonna. I just want to know how they are doing this for the renewal, like for the water supply, because this is new to me about they're using water. So I just want to know, like, what is it that they're doing that's like, why does it have to use that? How come it's not just using regular energy? Like,
It's what I've understood is that it's like when your computer.
Keep going.
It's like when your computer overheats. Like the actual mechanics of it add literally like they produce heat. It's a byproduct. And so then you imagine like the largest computer you've ever seen that takes up an entire building, and then it's running and it's running and it's running, and it's going to literally catch fire or burn up because of the amount of power that's being run through it. So then they have to, it's the same thing with nuclear power plants. Actually, my mom lives on a lake that is like 90 degrees in the summertime because it's cooling a nuclear power plant that's producing a ton of energy. And so that's a whole other type of pollution called heat pollution. And it's also very harmful to the environment. But again, I don't know what alternatives there are, but it's so new that there's got to be some brainstorming going on about what else we can do to reduce the heat output, or how we can, is there dirty water or water that we don't want to be using that we can use to cool it down? It's really confusing. But I do think we're smart. We can, if we can figure out AI, then we can figure out how to cool down AI without using up all of our water and resources. So all that to say, I don't have the answer, but I know that someone does. And they can't keep coming to me and saying that we're the problem when this is an issue that I think could be tackled in a smarter way. So yeah.
Yes. But I learn something new every day. So you just taught me something that I actually appreciate that. I love learning. I'm a lifelong learner. So this was interesting. So I thank you for that. Thank you.
We're all about learning and teaching here, and we want to learn from you as well. So, and again, I'm not an expert on that topic. I know basic stuff, but we can both after this dive into it a little further, and we'll each be better off for it. So
my response to everything you ladies said is I agree. I would like for these corporations and tech corps to stop gaslighting us. Jasmine, I'm someone who makes a fairly decent living by trading stocks every day. So I'm watching CNBC every day. I'm up to date on what they're doing. My background is in applied science, and America can do anything it wants. We have the wheel. We've just seen we have the money. We can do anything we want. And like Claire said, we have all these servers that are powering all the AI engines and the search engines and all that, and they do get hot and you need water to cool them down. But then we're also opening up new nuclear plants. So 3 Mile Island was just bought by, it was either Microsoft or Facebook, because they need so much energy to power all this AI engines, that type of thing. And to Claire's point about why can't we do something cleaner, we could if the political will was there. This administration that we have right now doesn't care about that. And just so I can move on to what my I've had was, I'll just say this. People who are smart know that the same side of the moon faces the sun all the time. We could literally go put up 10 miles of solar energy on the moon because it's going to get energy 24/7. And then you can, I think it's either refract or microwave the energy back to Earth. And then we have infinite power as long as our sun keeps being yellow before it turns red. And I'll move on. Food for thought for those that are listening. So my I've had it is not as deep as y'all's I had it. Mine is very petty. So y'all just get your feet ready. I've had it. shout out to the I've Had It podcast, with MAGA people and their non-driving asses. How the hell you gonna run your car, your redneck mobile, into my lane and then blow the horn at me? Come on, man. How much sense is that? You come in my lane, then you blow your horn at me. Then I get over because I see you swerving. So I'm thinking, okay, this is an unsafe driver. So I get in the other lane and I pass them. Why do you then get behind me and start honking the horn because I'm going slower because I'm trying to get you to pass me? So I've had it with horrible MAGA drivers and their 18-wheel jacked up trucks that let out more smog than every tobacco cigarette making company in America. I've had it. Had it.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Can I make one statement on that?
Yeah, definitely.
And they act like they have gotten their licenses out of a cereal box. They really do. They cannot drive worth anything. And then I really think that, and this may just be TMI, but this is just me being superhuman and straightforward, but I really do think that they get those big jacked up trucks to compensate. And I know you hear that all the time, but at the same time, it's like there's no need for that when you're like 5'3" and you have like, and I'm not talking about a woman, I'm talking about a dude. You're like 5'3" climbing up into this big ass truck. For what? You have to push your whole seat up into your steering wheel, and you're over here. They're nuts. They're crazy. But crazy mentally, but also driving wise too. So I agree with that. You have not said anything wrong. And I'm trying to stay as professional as possible here, but at the same time, I'm trying to maintain my professionalism, because one thing about me is I will eat someone up real quick.
Well, you've come to the right channel. The reason I have a big following is because I judiciously eat people up. And me and Claire are in North Carolina. And so my joke about their bad driving is I always say they all think they went to the Dale Earnhardt School of driver's license in North Carolina, because they all think that they're on some damn dragway in the dirt road in the back country, driving however they want to, like a damn sidewinder snake in the desert. That's how they drive in North Carolina.
Well, it's just always, you see the big ass truck in your rear view. They're riding your ass. You're like, whatever, I'll move over. They pass you, and all of a sudden you see Trump bans, all this bullshit, and you're like, checks out.
It's the flags for me, honestly. Like, it's very telling. It's not even the don't tread on me part. It's literally the Trump, and a lot of them don't have the updated one. So it'll be like Trump and Pence. And I'm just like, man, I'm just like, y'all sat up here and y'all literally look like idiots, because Pence is not even friends with Trump no more. Pence couldn't, like, y'all agree. Y'all need to get new stuff, okay? I don't know what to say, because if these things get clipped, they're gonna be like, look, she's our biggest hater. And baby, one thing about me is I do not hate y'all and y'all's 8th grade level thinking, reasoning, whatever. Okay. One thing about me is I'm gonna let y'all do what y'all want to do, and I need y'all to move around. That's it. Stay away from me with y'all's brain worms or y'all's Trump Bibles. I don't want none of that. I don't want to be a part of it.
Well, here's the thing I always tell people, Jasmine, then we'll go to the Iran subject. I always tell people it's a double standard for Democrats versus Republicans, because if a Republican attacks someone's physical nature or their behavior, they all of a sudden forget it. They have convenient memory. But if a Democrat does it, you call somebody a bag of deplorables, they never let you forget it. Now, this is what I think and what I say about what Democrats can do in regards to that. Because of the mindset and the delusional mindset and the hatred mindset of MAGA, I said MAGA, not Republicans. The only thing a Democrat has to do to make them upset is what's right for the greater good of the country, and they're just going to be fucking mad at that. You want health care for everybody? They mad. You want to make sure everybody has clean water? They mad. You want to make sure kids and people have the opportunity and the financial wherewithal to go to college? They fucking mad. So Democrats, make them matter. keep fighting for what's best for everybody, and they're going to be big mad regardless.
But my thing is that it never ceases to amaze me that the people that are calling themselves Republicans are not even real Republicans, because the real Republicans that we know, especially the ones that I grew up with, they were rich. They were rich, and they actually went to prestigious colleges. They actually had decent jobs, and they had reasonings to actually complain. MAGA, like, for them to call themselves Republican, it's 100% just, I would be appalled if I was a Republican, honestly, because I would be like, first of all, who are you? Do we even know you? Have you brushed your teeth? Have you even brushed your hair? Like, where do you go? Like, I would ask so many questions, because one thing about me is I'm inquisitive about everything. So if one thing doesn't make sense, then I'm telling you, my brain will find different links to try to figure out, like, and start making up all these questions to dive deeper into why they do what they do. But also on top of that, it tries to comprehend stupidity. And I think that's why I am the way that I am now, where I'm just kind of just more side-eyed than saying anything, is because when you can't comprehend stupidity, what can you say? You can't argue with them. But it's MAGA is definitely people that should be considered a terroristic group.
100%.
Sorry, I just had to say 100%.
It. And you good. You good.
Jasmine, that what you just said reminds me of, I can explain it to you, but I cannot understand it for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I'm talking to MAGA. I can explain this and make it so crystal clear. I can lay out the evidence on a red carpet for you, and you still will not, it won't process through your rock of a brain. So, I'm not going to waste my time after a certain point. If you make it clear to me that the way that you reason and the way that you use logic is by using confirmation bias and trying to argue based on points you've already heard from Fox News, it's not worth my time. I don't need to educate you. You've had the opportunity and you've chosen ignorance.
Yes.
So enjoy your ignorance. Fuck you though.
And it's not even bliss. The ignorance is not even bliss at this point. At this point, it's literally just
miserable.
Yes, it's miserable. You hit the nail right on the head, and it's super embarrassing for them because they don't want to be open to constructive criticism. They don't want to sit up here and actually have productive conversations. And these are the same people that also like conspiracy theories. Like, they come up with things like, there's a lizard man that comes out of this hole in my grandma's backyard every day. These are the same people that we're trying to reason with, and I don't understand why we would even do that. But I'm sorry, Lamont, that I had cut you off, but I just want to say that in nursing school, we had learned that we have to produce information at an 8th grade level. So everything that we print out, 8th grade level, everything that's verbiage, it has to be, just like me saying, hey, we have to go into your skull and we had to fix a broken bone in your skull. 8th grade level, instead of me going in and saying, well, you had a fractured sphenoid bone and we had to go in and do a lobotomy on you. They're not going to understand it, So when I try to break things down for MAGA, I do it at a kindergarten level. But you know what? But I stopped. Because once you get down to kindergarten, baby, you can't comprehend anything. You are talking to respond and not to understand.
Mm-hmm.
You are arguing to respond and not understand.
Facts. And I'll get us to the next subject on this, ladies and gentlemen. The fight you hear from Jasmine is the kind of fight a lot of us Democrats want to hear, because you can easily destroy MAGA by just giving the facts. To them, facts are insults, which is pathetic, but it's the absolute truth. A fact is an insult. And Jasmine was very nice when she said they brushed their teeth, because most MAGA I see only got one tooth because they hang from fucking mountains in West Virginia, but I digress. And when you try to talk to someone who is caught in a delusion, I mean, these people are caught in a delusion that is beat into their head that all you need is MAGA's version of the Bible. You don't have to believe science. You just believe what I tell you. You believe in this Bible and its magic and all the stuff that they put in the Bible. and therefore it makes them more susceptible to believing in the lied words of people that are in positions of power like Trump. And I'll leave it there because we brought Jasmine here to display her knowledge. She don't got to speak with me and my audience on an 8th grade level. We want people to understand that she's a human, she's got jokes, she's bold, and she's got a back that is as strong as a rhino for folks that want to throw something at her. And we'll get to Iran. So Jasmine has a person that she really, really loves who's actively in the military. So when this Iran thing came up, ladies and gentlemen, it was of pertinence to her, not just because she's running for Senate, but because she's actually living it. And Jasmine, I'm going to show you the clip that I mentioned to you the other day about that sparked a whole lot more looking into what's really going on with Iran and Israel. And after that, you get first dibs on replies and rebuttals to what's going on.
Iran, by the way. I don't know the population at all. No, I don't know the population. You don't know the population of the country you seek to topple? How many people live in Iran? 92 million. Okay. Yeah. How could you not know that? I don't sit around memorizing population tables. Well, it's kind of relevant because you're calling for the overthrow of the government. Why is it relevant whether it's, it's 90 million or 80 million or 100 million? Why is that relevant? Because if you don't know anything about the country... I didn't say I don't know anything about... Okay, what's the ethnic mix of Iran? They are Persians and predominantly Shia. Okay, it's not even. You don't know anything about Iran. So okay, I am not the Tucker Carlson expert on Iran. You're a senator who's calling for the overthrow of the government. You're the one who claims anything about the country. No, you don't know anything about the country. You're the one who claims they're not trying to murder Donald Trump. You're the one who can't figure out if it was a good idea to kill General Soleimani, and you said it was bad. You don't believe they're trying to murder Trump? Yes, I do. Because you're not calling for military strikes against them in retaliation. And if you really believe that, we're carrying out military strikes today. You said Israel was right with our help. I said we. Israel is leading them, but we're supporting them. Well, you're breaking news here because the U.S. government last night denied, the National Security Council spokesman Alex Pfeiffer denied on behalf of Trump that we were acting on Israel's behalf in any offensive capacity. No, we're not bombing them. Israel's bombing them. You just said we were. We are supporting Israel. High stakes. You're a senator. If you're saying the United States government is at war with Iran right now, people are listening. Okay.
So, Jasmine, let me set this up for you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to vote for a senator who is going to come to her interview prepared, who already has a great basis of knowledge of what's going on militarily and inside the government because they're actively married to it, go and donate to Jasmine, because that was an atrocious showing by both people. Tough Talking Carlson and Ted, don't call me Raphael from the Ninja Turtles Cruz. It's embarrassing, number one, that he don't have any knowledge and wasn't prepared for that interview. So if he's not prepared for that interview, the people he supports in Texas, how prepared do you think he is for you guys? And Jasmine, this was his reply. Ted Cruz on X did a long interview with Tucker. He released a snippet playing a got you on the population of Iran. I decline to play those silly games. There ain't nothing about I got you if you're getting ready to go to war with a country. And having said that, Jasmine, I give the floor to you because I wish your leadership would have been sitting in that chair with Tucker Carlson. Tell us what you think about this Iran-Israel thing.
So first of all, when I had saw that yesterday, when you had brought this to my attention, I went to go watch it. And I said, one, Tucker Carlson's making sense for once. Like, this is insane that I actually agree with everything that he's saying. He was asking the valid questions of how many people, what is the population of Iran? What, do you know who is in Iran right now? Like, it was valid questions that he was asking, whereas, he's always dropping propaganda. He's always pushing these things, these narratives within the conservative community, the MAGA community, that it just baffled me that he actually cared for someone outside of himself. So when he got kind of like super just invested into what Ted, okay, so how can I say this? Because I'm getting ahead of myself.
He got feisty.
So, yes.
He got feisty.
Yes. And that's the energy that we're needing right now. And I think that he's trying to set a different precedent within the MAGA community because he knows that this is going to affect him as well now once we get involved in this conflict. But as a active duty Army wife, my husband is currently deployed. He is doing Ukrainian efforts right now. So he's not doing the Iranian efforts. And just as I was saying earlier, sorry, my daughter walked in and I was trying to figure out what she was doing, so I apologize. But just as I was saying earlier to you behind the scenes is that most of the military members don't know what's going on in America until maybe a little bit later because they end up getting information later on. They get more of the information from where they're at geographically than they do when when they're in America. They get more of where they're at. So anywho, it's very disheartening that we have to go into a conflict that's not even ours. One, Israel is very much so and I'm not going to speak on the people because the people are innocent. I'm talking about Netanyahu. Netanyahu is a war criminal, and I say this with all of my chest. I don't say this with half of my chest. He's a war criminal that's out here starting things because he knows that he's going to ultimately get slapped on the hand with it because no one's held him accountable. So I feel bad for the Iranians, and I feel bad for the Israelites, or I think that's what they're called. I'm not sure, but the mere fact of the matter is that we're now having to put our people on the front lines for their conflict that they started is very, very detrimental to the average military family. We always have to worry about conflicts like this and if our spouse is going to come home or not at the end of the day, and we have to worry about our children not seeing them for 9 months. But we worry the most about them going on and getting deployed and our children, they leave for 9 months and our children, and something happens over there and our children don't see them for the rest of their lives. They left for that 9 months when they could have been spending all that ample amount of time hanging out, getting to actually, what's the word I'm looking for? Actually trying to get to know their family, their dad or their mom, whoever is over there, but now they never get to see him again because they sent him over there. So where I'm going with this is that this is a pointless war. The people that we have making these decisions, which are our senators and Netanyahu and this mongrel right here, the orange Cheeto, they're warmongers. They've been wanting this. They've been wanting a reason to send over our military members and divide families because obviously they divided neighbors. My neighbor's a Republican and my family's Democrat over here. We used to always say hi and bye to each other. But after this whole situation with not Netanyahu is one thing, but with the last election that we had, we don't even talk anymore. We don't know each other. We literally cannot look at each other the same way. This has divided people that has lived next door to each other for 20 years. And this is just off of him. So to have these type of people in office that don't care about us and don't care about community and they don't care about life in general, I don't know what to say to it because it really has hurt my feelings. But the military wise, it's dividing us. And it's also, I want to speak, and I'm sorry, Lamont. I'm trying to focus, and kind of speak on it. But the thing is I'm so passionate about the military, about how they're villainized when these are just people who want to take care of their families. They come from and I say a long line, but they come from different places within the United States where they're trying to get out of poverty. They're trying to get out of the hood. They're trying to make a better life for themselves. But when people start saying things about martial law and all these other things, it's like, they can't win for losing. They just wanted to support their family. They just wanted to take care of themselves. They just wanted to not die in the streets. But when you have a tyrant in the office that is supporting another tyrant, it's like they also can't win with that either. And I'm sorry that I'm all over the place. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good, Jasmine. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to be some of that good sticky glue that can even be child resistant to bring things home. And we know your merit, we know your heart, and we're just trying to display it to everybody else. And Claire, I'm gonna give it to you like this. I'm gonna set up a couple of things that Jasmine spoke on. Number one, she talked a little bit about how Tucker Carlson, he's MAGA, Ted Cruz, he's MAGA flip-floppy, and how at one point in time, Tucker Carlson was doing all this yapping on Fox, and everybody was buddies with Israel. And then we get a weak dictator president who's cozying up to other dictators. Now Tucker Carlson done jump teams, and he's acting like he has real support for Iran when we know he doesn't. And the other thing she touched on was how this touches the military. And Claire, a lot of people in the military don't like the leadership they currently have, but they have to act on their orders. And hence you can see that based on the lack of formation from that military parade that was thrown in honor of his birthday. Those people did not want to be there. Their formation step was not the way it should be. And that was, I think, some of their protests. And last point, Claire, as I give it to you, I agree with her that Israel and people, I've got a map of the data of what's going on with Israel versus Iran. If you're listening to us, come to the YouTube and watch us. Claire, Israel is basically declaring war on pretty much all the Middle East, trying to take over everything. They're fighting Palestine. They're fighting Iran. There's rumors they want to go and have issues with the Saudis, who they feel like is supporting Iran. And as she mentioned eloquently, Netanyahu has been a dictator, a horrible war criminal. And I'll give it to you like this, Claire. Even with how bad and horrible he is, it makes no damn sense that that country has free education, free health care, and they're completely subsidized by the American people and possibly about to be subsidized again in another war, which we shouldn't be in. Floor is yours, Claire.
I don't think there will ever be a day of my life where we are not meddling in the goddamn Middle East. I came into this world post 9/11, and every day since, there has been some conflict in that area. And there's obviously so much geopolitical reasoning for that. And it's such a messy history. But one thing that this whole situation is making me think about is any war necessary? I definitely can think of examples like World War II when you need to have a military because you don't know what other people are going to do with their citizens, right? And their power. So we need to be able to intervene when it comes down to human rights. I get that. But resorting to war, the second that a conflict doesn't work, to me is a sign of weak negotiations, weak politicians, people who are incapable of compromise, people who are incapable of seeing each other's perspectives. And so when two countries just constantly are threatening war, that tells me y'all can't fucking debate for shit. Y'all don't know how to solve one singular problem without trying to get violent. It's just petty. It makes me, and I'm going to read really quickly from a great song. This is called War Pigs by Black Sabbath. I know it. Politicians hide themselves away. They only started the war. Why should they go out to fight? They leave that all to the poor. Time will tell on their power minds, making war just for fun, treating people just like pawns in chess. Wait till their judgment day comes. So that's all I'm getting at here. Love the military. We need the military, not discrediting that. But I think that there are many other things we can do and ways that we can negotiate before we resort to sending people over across the ocean to fight with people over an issue that it's not even our issue, really. We're related to it. adjacent. But yeah, it's frustrating.
No, and I agree wholeheartedly. I just feel like there's so like we are in the 21st century now. We are so well advanced with technology. I feel like there's other ways that we can definitely get our point across without actually having to have casualties.
Yeah.
Right. So this is just my thought about it. But you know, there may be other strategies as to why they don't want to use other ways to, because you know, like cyber wars, they come over here, I mean, they don't come over here, but they like drop propaganda on us. They end up, you know, crashing server systems, whatever, and that's like a war. Okay, I would much rather have that war than, you know, have to worry about if my husband's going to come home when he's supposed to. I would rather someone hack my Facebook page than have to get a flag, a service member come to my door with a flag and do a salute to me. I would much rather have that. I don't care about the materialistic things. I care about the person that I built a family with, you know, and I care about the other military members that are 100%, you know, loved by somebody. And so I really think that the government really does see the military as pawns, because they did sign on a dotted line and say that I will commit my life to whatever I'm told to do or to this country. But at the same time, they didn't commit themselves to causing genocide. They're just not into that. Like, I can tell you just all day how my husband will say, like, if I have to ever kill someone or someone dies just because they caught a stray, he was like, I don't think that I could live with that. And of wartime soldiers or veterans now, that's what they deal with. That's why they have PTSD so bad, is because they don't want to kill anyone. They don't want to have to resort to that. They want adults to act like adults. They want them to be able to compromise and make rational decisions on behalf of their citizens. And that was a great point. Let's be rational. Wow. Let's be logical.
Exactly.
And I'm going to say something a little controversial, Lamont. I'm sorry to cut you off. Do y'all think these wars would be continuing if more women were presidents or prime ministers?
Fuck no.
Or generals?
Statistics show that when women are in office or they, you know, of high leadership, things get done. Shit gets done. And budgets.
You don't just say, I'm going to hit you with a nuke. Like, you know, not to bring gender fully into it, but, you know, that's also another thing that I think about here. Who's the emotional one here? You know what I mean?
Well, and every time we have big conflict, it's always a man that, like, and they always say that women are emotional. And it's so crazy that they can start throwing all of these labels onto us because we can give birth. We do have, you know, menstrual cycles, and we do have PMS syndromes. But at the same time, it's like, we're the most level-headed, rational people that there is. And I'm sorry to say that. And that's not me being, that's not me favoring one gender over the other. It's literally me saying that we've balanced so much as women. We know how to hold down a household. We know how to take care of kids. We know how to be the middlemen, the mediators, because we have a lot of jobs in one. Like right now, since my husband is gone, I have to do everything on my own. I have to be the mom and dad. I have to be the mediator, the chef, the cook, the chauffeur. Cook and chef are the same thing. The taxi, the chauffeur. I have to be all of these things while he's gone. So we know how to juggle hard tasks
without losing your mind and becoming angry and screaming at your kid and hitting them. And I'm not saying that all men do this. I don't want to, you know, blanket term this situation, but it just does make me kind of think about how men have said historically, like, well, we can't have women in power. They're so emotional. They'd start a war in a day. And it's like, how many wars have been started by women?
I'll jump in there and say this.
Yeah, Lamont, please.
I'll jump in there and say this. Since I'm a man on this this three-legged horse, I'll speak on behalf of men and put a bow on this discussion and ask the audience to please subscribe to the channel. Go down to the video description so that you can go and support Jasmine, and also download our podcast. In regards to men and war. I am the type of man who has always believed in the power of women. I'm just like Black Panther. If I'm going to have some women supporting me, I want the fucking Dora Milaje, because they're going to kick your ass. And as a man, you're going to have a hard time realizing that they're kicking your ass because they're smart. I also believe that the most resilient creature on planet Earth is a Black woman. And I also believe that the people that can save this nation are women, because men have had their due from day one since this country was incepted. And look at all the shit we've gotten into because men want to pour their dick out and say who's got the longest one. That's what dictators do. That's what we have in office now. And secondly, on top of that, Trump has already said he wants to be a wartime president. Well, dummy, you could have been in the war when your ass faked like you had bone spurs or whatever it was you pretended like you had, so that you didn't have to get drafted. So nobody want to hear your ass wanting to be a wartime president when your ass is not out there on the line, and having to dodge bullets. You know, the way you lie about your weight, I don't even know if you could dodge a fucking tree. But nobody wants you in control of anything, Donald Trump. And having said that, ladies and gentlemen, let us know what you think. We need some fresh blood in there. We need more women in power. And Jasmine, I just hate to tell you this, but somebody's got to tell you this. The white man in America that's MAGA's worst nightmare is an educated, beautiful Black woman. What's my anecdotal evidence to that? You had Hillary, who was an educated woman. I ain't going to speak on her beauty, but I will speak on Kamala Harris, educated and beautiful, and got her ass kicked worse than Hillary. You got an uphill battle, but damn it, when you get in there, that's going to be a great change, and you've got our support. And having said that, you guys let us know what you think. Oh, you're more than welcome. We're going to talk about something else that's near and dear to her heart, and that is autism. And it's near and dear to my heart,
I'm
Jasmine,
sorry.
go
okay.
Go ahead.
I thought
you're on mute right now.
So I'm sorry. I'm in rural Wi-Fi right now, so everything is kind of like messing up. Like you'll come in and out, and I really feel bad about this. And I should have said something earlier because the Wi-Fi is so rural here, and we do need better resources for internet connection in rural areas, but it's been kind of going in and out. So there's times that I can hear what you're asking me, times that I can't, and I just go in and out. So I just wanted to let you guys know that. So when I'm interrupting you, trust me, I'm not being rude and I'm not trying to. It's just that I'm trying to catch up with what you're saying because of the fact that you just keep going in and out. So I'm so sorry. I cannot apologize enough.
Oh, how do you do it? You good. You good. We work with what we got. I give you guys the gold hearts, and we're going to talk about autism real quick. So, Jasmine, if you're a nurse, I'm a respiratory therapist. I used to work with special needs kids. That was me back when I was 325 pounds before the state of North Carolina cut the Medicaid budget so that I couldn't do my dream job, which was working outpatient services. I had my own business. I had about 4 respiratory therapists working with me, and we would go work with families in the special needs department, because a lot of kids that have special needs, which includes autism, which includes trisomy 21, which includes a whole lot of other ailments, also tend to have respiratory issues. North Carolina took that budget away, and I've never forgiven them for that, because these were average, everyday people that needed these services. And having said that, I will careen us into autism because my heart is still there. And this is a video I want you guys to take a look at. It gives a summarization of autism and autism awareness, and how people sometimes act as though they can't accept autism for what it is. They talk bad about autism. And we've got a leader in RFK who really doesn't know anything about autism. Take a look at this.
eliminate an entire alphabet soup of departments and agencies while preserving their core functions. I want to promise you now that we're going to do more with less.
RFK also refers to autism as a chronic disease here. There are lots of problems with how he refers to autistic people throughout this press conference, you will see.
Americans can understand what is happening with chronic disease in this country in real time.
Autism is not a disease or an illness, it's a neurodevelopmental condition. Your brain has developed differently. We should not be using words like disease to describe autistic people. It's stigmatizing, and even if you don't care about being nice to autistic people, it's also incorrect. Many people do refer to being autistic as a disability and a lifelong disability, but it's not a disease. Examples of chronic diseases include heart disease, cancer, and diabetes.
We don't wait 2 years to react to a measles epidemic or any kind of infectious disease. We shouldn't have to do that for diabetes or autism.
I mean, there's a reason why we don't react to autism as we would a deadly infectious disease. Autism is not a deadly infectious disease. And what does reacting mean? We're not trying to stop the spread or something. Again, this isn't COVID. Do you want to develop a vaccine for autism, Robert? Heard you like them. You just give us some vitamin A and then we can all move on with our lives. And he actually mentioned measles here.
We don't wait 2 years to react to a measles epidemic.
Hold that thought for now. But if RFK is planning to treat autistic children with the same regard he affords to the children who have sadly contracted measles, then,
The ASD prevalence rate in 8-year-olds is now 1 in 31. Shocking.
One thing that is important to note before we start fearmongering about how shocking this is that this figure 1 in 31 is not intended to be viewed in this way as a sort of national average. This is data from just 16 surveillance sites dotted all over the US. The populations within site-defined ADDM network surveillance areas are not nationally representative and do not generate nationally representative ASD prevalence estimates. And the numbers actually varied widely between sites. From 9.7 per 1,000 children in Laredo, Texas, to 53.1 in California. Did the authors put this variation down to some sort of scary environmental toxin in various areas? No. No, they did not. The authors of the report put the variation down to differences in service eligibility and availability, and whether the children had insurance coverage in that location. For example, the Pennsylvania site had a prevalence of 47.4 per 1,000 for 8-year-old children, but this isn't shocking. They have a state Medicaid policy which includes children with physical, developmental, mental health, or intellectual disabilities, irrespective of parental income. If diagnosis is more accessible, more people will access it.
Shocking.
I'm going to lay it up for you, Jasmine. That last piece of information she gave about Medicare access is what I used to be involved with in North Carolina, working with the population, and my state took it away to give the billionaires in my state another fucking yacht to go do whatever they want with God knows who. And in terms of RFK, who does not have any kind of medical background, he's got the audacity to sit up there and talk about he's replacing people with alphabet soup. Your ass need to get a hot bowl of alphabet soup, see if that'll fix your damn voice. Floor is yours, Jasmine.
So one thing, and I think that she hit everything right on the head pretty well, actually, because of the fact that she really put the statistics and the facts into there, and also making sure that people knew that autism is really stigmatized. So I'm passionate about autism and autism research because of the fact that my son has autism. He has level 2. So when I found out that he had autism, I was crushed, devastated. I didn't understand. I didn't know what I did. I felt like this was all my fault. I had no idea how to proceed after we had gotten that diagnosis. I cried for so long. And one thing about me is I'm emotional, but I'm not a crier unless I'm very frustrated or I'm just put into a situation where I just feel like there's no other I may go to jail if I don't do anything else. So when I had gotten that, I didn't have any idea. I thought it was just one of those life-altering, I thought it was a disease until I actually put forth effort into researching autism and seeing how I could help my child thrive and not have the worst case scenario where I'm like, okay, well, he's not going to be able to live a normal life in the future. And I think that when RFK really came out of the woodworks with no kind of medical backgrounds and also no kind of close allyship with the autism community. And he started saying giving all these terrible narratives and these dialogues. I was just like, well, first of all, who do you even know that has autism that you can sit up here and you can just make all these assumptions? Like, who are you? Because you're not an MD. You're not a developmental pediatrician, love. So who the hell are you? When I tell you, I can go on and on about, like, what are your credentials? Because it's not a parent of an autistic child, because no one knows the struggles and how we feel as parents than a parent when it comes to autism. So he had mentioned that he was going to find a cure by September. First and foremost, anyone who has a brain cell, they would know that it's genetic. There's no way that we can sit up here and we can find a cure for it. Like, yeah, if he can find something that helps out with, their mood swings, or if they can find ways to help with the behavioral portion, I'm all for it. But to try to cure it is beyond ableist. It really is. It's basically telling the autism community that they're not good enough, that we have to find a cure for you to actually fit in. And no one asked them to fit in. We just asked for more resources as parents. I would never, ever change anything about my son. Now, would I change some of his behaviors? I would just want them to be more contained and maintained. That would help me out. But at the same time, I feel like having ABA therapy, having speech therapy, having the resources that these people go to school for to be at our fingertips. Okay. I don't want my son to be cured. He's divinely made. I made him. So therefore, I'm going to stick beside whatever comes along with him. So it is, and it also made parents feel like they were inadequate. And one thing about me is I hate when men try to tell me, and it's specifically men, okay? When men try to tell me how to parent, and they also try to drag that, like they try to drag a mother that's doing everything that she can. Like, first of all, you can't produce life, let alone an autistic life. So let's start with that. And then second off, babes, stop trying. You don't have any room to be out here dragging and making these mothers feel so small. We've already felt small. We've already been there. We have to dig our way out of this. So next time that you want to speak on something you don't know, you might as well shut the hell up before you start, okay? Put a whole foot in your mouth. Sorry,
and let the toes pop out. Yeah, put the foot in the mouth and let all 10 toes pop out, because that's all they do. And, thankfully, because I have a respiratory therapist background and worked in the field, I got a chance to meet hundreds of these families, learn from these families. And I was even able to introduce something that helped some of the kids with their communication, Claire, and I'm gonna give it to you. Even though I was working on their breathing needs, one thing that the principal of the school took notice that I would do that helped the kids with communication was when iPads first came out, I introduced these games on the iPad to a lot of the kids that I worked with that had autism. And it worked wonders. It worked wonders. And I would have never been able to have those memories if there wasn't a budget for me to be in place to work with these families. And so, Claire, it's so important to me that we continue to fund this, because we've seen, even with the data from the video we saw, when there's health care in place, when you can get intervention early, regularly, continuously, you can help with some of the issues that come around autism, asthma, any of these. But the most important thing people need to do is make themselves aware of how they can support people with autism. And having said that, Claire, I give the floor to you.
I'm just so grateful to be surrounded by people with such fascinating backgrounds. And I also want to highlight for the audience here that I have a nurse to my right, I have a respiratory therapist to my left, and I am currently training to be a mental health counselor. So I am educated on the psychology side, and I have a degree in psychology. So I am equally passionate about this, and it's very frustrating when I see people completely misunderstanding and mislabeling ailments, diseases, disorders, and not knowing the difference between all of those different things. So one thing that I really wanted to touch on that this video kind of went into is a lot of MAGA people and a lot of people who are kind of the Make America Healthy Again conspiracy theorists who kind of follow RFK. They love to say this line. And I hear it all the time. Actually, people at my own work, when they hear that I am going to be someone who's diagnosing and dealing with mental illness, they're like, everyone this day has a mental illness, don't they? Everyone does. How is that possible? What are they teaching these kids? Or they try to come up with an explanation for why, or are we overdiagnosing? Are we reading between the lines too much? Whatever they're trying to come up with it. And I point you all to look up the graph of left-handedness. Just give me a second. If you look up the graph of the history of left-handedness in America, in the 1800s, it's down here. 1900, it's down here. And then around 1940, it rises. And then by 1960, it's up, and it has stayed stable ever since 1960-ish. Why is that? Because there was a stigma surrounding left-handedness. And so there were people who were left-handed, but they were not being given the opportunity to use that hand. They were being forced to write with their right hand because someone at some point in history said that left-handedness is demonic. Why that was a thing, I don't know. But now we have a very steady population of left-handedness, and we've shown that it is somewhat genetic. If you have a parent who's left-handed, you're much more likely to be left-handed yourself. All that to say, that's what's happening now with a lot of diagnosis. A lot of people talk about, oh, no one was autistic 40 years ago. Did you really think that Grandpa Earl, who had all his figurines organized perfectly on a table and couldn't talk with anyone above the age of 14 because he was so socially awkward and disconnected, was completely neurotypical? No.
Like fucking Elon Musk. Like fucking Elon Musk, and he's undiagnosed
because it was a stigmatized thing. Depression has always existed, anxiety's always existed, autism's always existed. It's just that people weren't getting the care and the diagnosis that explained their behavior. It was just put off as strange behavior, weird personality, they're different, and left at that. So this categorization helps people. Diagnosis explains things in a way that people need to hear it. And I'm gonna let you go, Jasmine, please.
We do not accept Elon Musk into the autism community. He does not have any kind of, I don't care what he says. I think that he uses that as a crutch. And as soon as he hits the Nazi salute, no, baby, you are not a part of this, because you're not going to, you're not going to put what's the word I'm looking for? You're not going to make autism into a hate type of situation, where it's already stigmatized, where people already side-eye them, or make, like I said, make us as parents feel small because they're side-eyeing us or telling us to shut our kids up when they're excited inside the local Walmart, right? Like he can't get that opportunity to feel the shame or to get acceptance from that end of the portion. Elon Musk he's a hateful person. That's all it is. Like, he cannot use autism as a crutch. No. He's not allowed to.
And he's a drug addict. He's a drug addict. See, really, he's telling people he's got folks running around saying I'm autistic when he's really a ketamine addict. And brother, you can get that fixed. At the end of the day, we all have our crosses to bear. Right. But what is the problem is when you try to ridicule people who have a cross to bear that they need to get fixed. And you try to tell them that healthcare is not the answer. You try to tell them that they should just pray the gay out of somebody. You try to tell them that we don't need healthcare for everyone. You try to demonize socialism when half the things we already do in America is socialism, from the military to the police to your local sheriff to your school systems. And what we need to do is increase this so that you can have better solvency in your communities, and everybody can achieve that American dream equally. And having said that, I want Jasmine to jump in here and talk a little more.
Yes, and the crazy part about all this is the people that are screaming socialism, one, they don't even know the definition of socialism. They don't even know what it entails. But two, but two, they are the definition of socialism. So when we don't have these programs, such as what they're asking for, like food stamps, the Medicaid, Medicare, it's like, well, do you rely on this? Are you wanting to use all of your Social Security paychecks or your child's Social Security? Because contrary to popular belief is that children with disabilities, such as autism, they can receive Social Security. We ended up receiving Social Security a couple of years ago while I was in nursing school. And Social Security ultimately wanted me to pay it back, saying that there was no true evidence that my son was autistic, although they had to get medical records. They had to get medical records from the doctor that says that he's been autistic since he was 2. He was diagnosed at 2. Well, anyway, these people are literally, I can't bring my mind to even wrap around the concept. And this is where I was saying earlier, is that the stupidity, my brain can't comprehend it nor make the words for it, because it's like socialism saves your life. Socialism puts food on your table. Socialism is what got you the help that you needed on Section 8. So it's either, and they get Marxism and socialism mixed up all the time, because they have put a negative context behind Marxism, which Marxism isn't even a bad thing. It aligns with socialism, right? But they just let people do that, and then they don't realize that they are the face of socialism. Socialism is not a bad thing. Socialism is the best thing that we have. It helps people. It keeps people from dying. It ultimately helps children have universal pre-K. The same kids that they're sending off to school, the ones that they want us to have, the ones that they're just like, no, pro-life, whatever. Same kids. This is helping us so we can go to work. So we can go to work. So we're not living off the same socialistic programs that you're complaining about. At the end of the day, socialism is not the devil, and it's not the devil to us. It's only a devil to the people who can't comprehend what socialism is. And these are the same people, by the way. MAGA are the same people that are easily swayed. These are the people that starts hard drugs. They could be sitting at a party. I could easily just be like, no, bro, I don't want to try heroin today. That's or ever. Okay. But these are the same people who get addicted to drugs. And I'm not saying that all of them are this way, but these are easily persuaded people who have followed their whole life. These are not leaders. So why are we allowing other people like them to try to persuade us? These are sheep. These are not leaders. So I wouldn't listen to anything that someone who literally thinks that, what was it that was the most stupidest thing that I heard? That told me that, God, and it was so good. I just had it. I lost my train, but I had it. And if I think of it, I'm telling you, but I would never let anyone convince me that socialism is a bad concept, especially ones that never have just easily opened up their phone and Googled. Google is so free and underutilized. And we just got done talking about AI. Literally, ChatGPT gives you information without you having to go seek it or actually summarize. It summarizes things for you. So you just put in that code. They don't want to use that. You want to know why? Because it's so much easier to believe someone who thinks like them.
Right. It's called being in the bubble. It's called wanting to live in your delusion. It's called I want affirmation, not information. And it's also called that if I find out Santa Claus is not real, it's going to tear down my whole world. And to that point, Jasmine, you've just made such a strong case of all the things that you would be fighting for the people of Oklahoma and for the United States. I now want you to take the next 2 minutes to give us the pitch for those that might just now be tuning in or might wait it to the end to hear what you have to say about the things you represent and what you'll do in office. Give us the pitch for why everyone outside of Oklahoma needs to pay attention to you and your message, and why the people in Oklahoma need to give you their vote.
I'm passionate about myself because I advocate for everyone but myself. But this one time I'm advocating for myself. But my name is N'Kyla Jasmine Thomas. I go, the only people that call me N'Kyla are bill collectors and people who don't know me. But I go, please call me Jasmine. My friends call me Jasmine. And my Oklahomans are free to call me that. I am a active duty military spouse, wife, autism mom, and a nurse. And I'm Black, white, Native American. So I have the representation that for all of those things. And I know what it's like to lack that representation in our government. I would be the first woman, first Black woman, first triracial woman, first woman. I don't know if I emphasized on that, to ever sit in the U.S. Senate seat in Oklahoma. And I am fighting for education. I'm fighting for, what am I not fighting for is the question. Education, the fair wages, healthcare, rural access, and obviously now that I've had all these issues with the rural Wi-Fi, I guess I'm going to be fighting with Wi-Fi access as well. But I'm fighting for my Oklahomans because they have been so underrepresented, and I'm super excited to get out there and show myself and show my personality. And I've been out in my community, but I'm super excited to represent what Oklahoma really is, because Oklahoma is they are 49th in education. They're number 2 in domestic violence, and they're also the lowest in livelihood, like wages and things of that nature. So I'm ready to get out there and start giving my Oklahomans the best of the best at this point, because they deserve it. No one that lives here that has grown up here or has made this their home, whether they've grown up here, born, bred, raised, should ever have to worry about if they are going to pay their bills or put food on the table for their children. So I'm here to fight for them. I'm here to be the best representation that there can be, because I know what it's like. I've looked at these people, whether they were my neighbor or whether they were my patient, and I've heard the stories of what they go through and how they are just in these sticky situations that as Americans, we should not have to face. We are an established country. We are not a third world country. Well, depends on who you're asking, because I kind of feel like we're a third world country with a Gucci belt right now. But that's just my opinion. That's not anyone else's. But we are such an established and technologically advanced country that we should not have to worry about homelessness and or how we're going to feed our children. Our children come first, and there are a next generation of scientists, doctors, nurses, psychiatrists, respiratory therapists. They're our next generation, and we need to nurture that. So thank you for having me on. I really enjoyed this, and I'm sorry that I was having issues with Wi-Fi connectivity and also the family being in the back. I love a good podcast, but I also like really good conversation with incredible, intelligent adults. You guys are just wonderful, and I really enjoyed this. And like, again, I'm so sorry that we had the connection issues, because I really wanted to go deeper into this. But because Oklahoma does not prioritize certain things, we have to deal with things like this. But thank you so much, Lamont and Claire. You guys are incredible. You have my heart.
Well,
Thank
Claire,
you.
Claire, give her 30 seconds of just your feelings for her, and then I'll close us out.
Thank you for showing us in real time what it looks like to get into the nitty-gritty on the campaign trail, to make it work, make it happen, regardless of your circumstances, and not saying, let me try this in 10 years when I'm better set up financially. Let me try this later when, my Wi-Fi isn't an issue. You're like, no, we're doing this shit and we're doing it now. And that's the kind of people that we need in office. People who are not going to wait around. They're not going to, go and say, well, sorry, let me just find all the richest corporations that can fund my campaign. You're asking people to help you. And now it's our job and our time to step up for you.
Thank you.
Because you're stepping up for us. So thank you for your time and your effort and your energy. And we are right here along with you on this ride. Don't forget that.
And Jasmine, I'll say this, and then we'll let you get out of here. As she said so eloquently, thank you for your time. And I'll say this, you inspire me. And you know I'm not going to let you get out here without showing you my daughter, who you strong women, including my wife, who is a kidney doctor, who has been affected, and her colleagues been affected by RFK and his bull jive. I fight for y'all because I know what kind of fight y'all can do for us. And this is my daughter that I keep ready because God knows I want her to be just like you and Claire. That's my daughter.
Oh, look at the baby. Look
and
at her.
I can tell you right now, she told me to tell you, you've got her vote. And so having said that, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for our video. Please be sure to download our podcast. You can find us on Spotify, anywhere you go. That is our link for the podcast. We also have a voicemail system that you can leave us a message. The link is in the description. But for this video, more importantly, I need y'all to take the time to go donate to Jasmine's campaign. She done already invited us to the cookout. She said we can come to the cookout, but it's going to cost us some tithes and offering, ladies and gentlemen, at least 50 cents to get to the cookout so that we can enjoy it with her. And people that she's not going to invite to the cookout, Ted Cruz, Tucker Carlson. And until that next Sexy as Hell video, we're out. Wow. Oh, well.